Well, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming here.
Oh, thank you for taking the time. I know you got a busy schedule.
Well, always a great pleasure to be in DC with our federal agencies friends.
Well, let me kick things off. I got a few questions for you. So let me ask you the first one. As the founder and CEO, you've demonstrated a commitment towards this community public sector from the beginning. Why have you been so committed to the long-term investment to this community and more or less to the mission of public sector?
Well, look, first of all, I was born in Romania, a communist country. And since the end of the Second World War, we were hoping for Americans to come and free us. And they finally came in 1989 in a different form. And we owe a lot to America, honestly. And it was always my dream to come here to work. I started basically my career in Microsoft. I moved to Seattle for a while, and then I went back to Romania to build this company. And then when we had success, we moved our headquarters back in America to New York. We raised money. So we built the business here. So we are always very committed to US and to the federal government. And also, we start to work pretty early with the federal government, I think around 2017. And we've seen a really great determination in adopting our robotic technology. I still remember like our first interaction with some folks in Air Force. So they were former pilots. Actually, they started to get trained into our studio products, so they build by themselves. So they're some kind of first robots. And USDA, we had great success with our citizen development program. I think it was at the tune of like $70 million savings for them. And also big other agencies in veteran affairs. It's great to work for them and help them with their mission. And not to speak about DoD, where we have really a great presence.
Well, you know, as you look forward in public sector, what are we going to do differently, do you think? And what different technologies do you see on the horizon that we're launching and so forth?
I think that with the emergence of agentic AI, I think the public sector in US, but also across the world, it's at the cusp of a huge transformation. And to me, RPA was one of the first technologies that give us a hint of how we can transform the labor. And RPA, it's beautiful, but it's limited in how it works. It works only when you can really define a task in well-structured manner. You know the rules of the task, then RPA can do the job. But many tasks, require, a kind of cognitive approach to it. You need to make small decisions. You need to go extract information from different places that are it's hard to code all of them in a robot. But now agents are finally going into this new frontier. So agentic AI, it's really capable to go to the next step of emulating human mind. With RPA, we have emulating basically more human eyes and the fingers and hands and how we work with computers. Now agentic emulates our mind. When you put these two technologies together, it creates a very powerful, like a virtual person in a way. So I see really, it's not, to me, it's not an if this is gonna be adopted, but it's gonna be how fast it's gonna be adopted. What kind of change management we will put in place.
How do you think we at UiPath are going to help make this work?
I think we are really well positioned to help a lot of government agencies to adopt agentic AI. First of all, we know how to deploy safely our robots. And technologies are a little bit, in a way, similar. They emulate how people work. So we have secured our robots, and we offer, governance. We offer a trust environment to run your robots. And the robots already run in the context of enterprise processes. Most of our robots run basically unattended, doing by themselves, parts of an enterprise process. Now, it's time to look what humans are doing in the context of the same process, bring agents that help them to reduce their input on the process, and bring also an orchestration layer on the top that will connect agents, humans, and robots together. So I think we really have an avenue to see that in most processes, humans will play the role of supervising, the process, the operational aspect. Actually, we are launching tomorrow our new product called Maestro. And we have chosen the name Maestro to suggest that humans will have basically the role of a conductor of a symphony. And the symphony will be played by robots and agents, but humans will just conduct the symphony. And it's really a matter of how fast we are going there. Some people tell, it's gonna be 10 years because of the inertia, and I mean in general, like worldwide adoption. But I think right now in US and in the public sector especially, I think that there are the premises to be adopted much faster. And I think we are ready to work with our biggest clients here and help them to adopt it much faster.
I would agree, totally. I guess when you look at the public sector, right, there's trust, there's security, governance, and there's stringent rules around, let it be security and compliance requirements across the entire industry. We see a need for both public sector cloud and we see a need for automation suite, right, because of the different environments. Can you highlight UiPath's investment in supporting the product parity with these not only government cloud, but automation suite?
Yeah, so as we invested for quite a long time in being FedRAMP certified. We are not yet FedRAMP High certified, but for this we have automation suite that can be installed in the most secured cloud environments or even on premises. Because we have clients that are very sensitive. We have agencies like CIA, that is our client. And of course, we are well aware of the security implications of our software. And actually, the push to our strategies as a cloud company is to bring most of our new features, new products, cloud first. And the pressure from our public sector team makes us to put them in automation suite and FedRAMP as a high priority.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot of changes going on in the federal government. I think I was alluding to that earlier with the new administration. We've heard of DOGE, of course. Yes. Significant focus on cost savings and doing more with less, with reduction in the government workforce. For example, we've seen memos, for example, workforce automation, asking specifically for AI plans and automation plans. How can UiPath help, and any thoughts or recommendations?
Look, I think we are the technology to drive efficiencies. And to us, it's really the right moment to go really big. We have RPA, we have the agentic AI, we have the orchestration layer. We are here. We already know a lot of big agencies. We are ready to go big at this time. I think we are one of the few companies that actually help, those goals and the new administration goal to drive efficiency extremely fast.
I would totally agree. So Got one last question for you. So last month, UiPath actively began driving a message around fanatical efficiency,
Yeah.
right, in public sector, advertising and so forth. How would you define fanatical efficiency and our role in driving this forward in public sector?
Yeah, let me start first with how we define it internally in UiPath. So of course, we have to be customer zero of consuming agents and robots. And we have started to basically look at any role in the company and start to map what are actually the tasks that a person do that can be subject for agents and robots combined. And we go even further. We look at what are the agencies like, in marketing and sales that we are working with? What part of their job can be replaced by AI? And even further, for any new headcount that has to be approved, the requester should produce a memo why AI cannot do the job that they requested. So we want to go extremely deep into the company. We have this idea of agentifying UiPath. And I think, and we are not alone. So I've seen a few, public companies in US that, like, I think Shopify, Duolingo. I've seen some announcements around big initiatives, internal initiatives. So we have to drink our own champagne. But in the public sector right now, again, per our conversation today, I think it's really ripe for a big change. And incredible, the moment is here. Because I think without agentic AI, this big shift towards fanatical efficiency would have not been possible, regarding, of the willpower. But now combining the will to make the change with the technology that is getting ready, it creates really the environment where things are possible. And I'm really extremely excited to work with our friends here. I committed to you that I will be in DC much more often. And let's get it started.
Absolutely. Well, any final thoughts, Daniel?
Yeah, so I think we really are on a journey that will change dramatically how we work in many jobs. In a way, I think it's gonna be as dramatic as the change in agriculture that happened like 100 years ago. And 50% of Americans 100 years ago work in agriculture. And in just the span of like 30 years, like 1920, 1950, it's becoming only like 2-3%. And if we look today of the people that work there, they just supervise machines and drones and everything, doing the job. I see the same shift in a lot of clerical jobs and in a lot of agencies where many people will change how they work, and I think we will be assisted a lot by machines, intelligence machines or robots that do maniacal jobs, but the transformation will be profound.
Well, I want to personally thank you for taking the time and everyone for joining us today again. So thanks again.